Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Schlemme. I'm the VP of Marketing for Screen Americas. Welcome and thank you for attending our case study. I do want to get right into it, but there are so many new names at the summit this year with the new expanded and virtual format, but I wanted to take just a few minutes to introduce you to Screen. While Screen as a brand traces its roots in the graphic arts and printing industry back to more than 100 years, our business in the last 50 years has really diversified. You can see a few of those businesses listed here, but what I think is most important for you to take away are the core technologies these businesses are built upon: surface processing, direct imaging, and image processing. Whether our technology is manufacturing semiconductor chip stacks for IBM or flat panel touchscreen displays for Samsung and Apple, or high-speed inkjet engines for companies all over the globe just like yours, it's advances in these core technologies that are leveraged across all our business units. The principles are the same regardless of the product: robust engineering, best-in-class uptime, precision imaging, and the lowest total cost of ownership. We are a global business, publicly traded, and as you can see, with just 8% of our global workforce in sales and marketing, we're committed to our customers by committing our resources to R&D and manufacturing expertise. And it's no different for us here with Screen Americas, where we've focused our business solely on inkjet since 2006. We have come a long way since those early days of pioneering continuous feed inkjet here in the US. And I think some of the data points I've listed here help to tell a story of success. But what's most exciting for us is that there's more to come. The pipeline for new markets and new applications is very exciting. So let's get right to the case studies. Our goal with these case studies are to let our customers speak for themselves. These are truly leaders and innovators in your industries and markets: commercial print, publishing, direct mail, transactional print. If you're in the middle of evaluating continuous feed inkjet solutions and you're talking to Screen, then I'd like you to come away from these case studies feeling like you're in good company. If you're not talking to Screen, then my hope is that you'd ask yourself, why wouldn't I? Either way, I do believe there's always something to learn from those who have blazed the trail ahead of us. If you need to get in touch with anyone at Screen during the summit, send me a message in the chat system. And with that, I thank you and I turn you over to our most powerful marketing message: our Screen customers.
Hi, my name is Rob Nuffel. I'm the president here at Prisma Graphic. We are based out of Phoenix, Arizona, and we're roughly about $50 million a year in sales, 250 employees. We are a tech-enabled marketing logistics company. We specialize in 5 or 6 verticals ranging from healthcare to financial, retail, and the restaurant space. Those are some of the main verticals that we support, and just happy to be part of this new virtual inkjet conference. So to start our journey, we started our journey into inkjet solutions almost about 3.5 years ago. Went to one of the inkjet summits for the first time and do some real due diligence into the inkjet market. You know, we had been talking about it for a while. We've been in the digital space for quite a few years and have had up to as many as 15 different cut sheet devices. And as that particular part of our business began to grow and we were looking at volumes and speed, it was time for us to dive into the inkjet solutions. And was it the right timing for us? Was the technology where we needed to be from a commercial standpoint? Did we have the right workflows in place to support that type of new technology? And was our organization, overall ready to embrace this new technology and carry us into the future? And then, of course, do we have the work to support it currently to make the ROI come out correctly? What we didn't want to do, we didn't want to cannibalize our own work from some of the sheet fed work that we were currently doing and putting on the digital web. We didn't think that was a viable option for us. And how long was it going to build that business for us to make sure that, again, our ROI was justified? So after we had looked at those questions for our organization, we did have one opportunity that we, with one of our customers, that the volume was starting to outgrow our sheet fed cut devices. And so again, this kind of helped us get along with our journey. We had one of our customers that was asking us to produce millions of mailers on a monthly basis that our cut sheet really wasn't supporting, again, from a speed to market, from a cost perspective. So there is a company here locally that myself and our CEO, Bob, has been friends with for many, many years in the election business. And they had recently put in a couple of new inkjet webs at their facility, and we're looking to help fill volume in the off season of the election cycle. So we were actually running some of our work with them to help us get ready to bring this technology onto our floor. We did something a little different than I think most do. We actually went and first bought a finishing line after we decided that definitely a viable solution for us, and put that on our floor, and then had our partner supply us with the inkjet pre-printed rolls, and then we were doing the finishing in line. And we thought this was a good segment into getting into this type of technology. Not that web printing was new to us. We have heat set and cold set webs here, so we understood and knew how to manage roll devices and even the supply of paper when it comes to rolls, because that's a little bit different than just buying skids of cut sheet paper as you need it on a weekly basis. So we partnered with them, and that really worked out very well, because as you go through this journey, you're going to find out that picking the right printing device for you is important, but even picking the right finishing partner is just as important. And there's a little bit larger learning curve when it comes to running that type of machinery. So that worked out real well for us. And so we had put that finishing device in a couple of months prior to actually installing our inkjet. As part of the decision process, we had looked at, we could add another HP 12,000 to our fleet and another one, and trying to decipher was that a more cost effective and safer mode to go, knowing that we were in that cut sheet digital space for quite a few years. But looking at the data and looking for, again, with throughput and speed to market, it was almost basically a 3-to-1 when we looked at what we would get out of inkjet web versus adding more cut sheet device. It was a very valid point to us, and kind of an eye-opening that we were making the right decision and going with an inkjet solution. So as we started down the process of making a decision, when we had went to the Inkjet Summit the first time, we'd actually gone 3 different times, but on the first one, my goal there was to visit with as many EOMs as possible, and then also some of the users down there, just to try to understand a little bit more, where they were coming from, what the pros and cons were with the different EOMs, and just going through that first process. And really, it wasn't until the second time that we went and really started doing a deep dive with all the EOMs that we went out and visited the EOMs in their demo centers, and then had them set up interviews and visits with specific customers that they had some of their equipment in. And going through that process was, again, eye-opening for us, and really was a huge part of the decision process. Listening to where the EOMs were coming from, where they were at then, where their roadmap was to, where they were going to be in 3 to 5 years, and then taking that information and comparing it to what the users' experience were, and then comparing and contrasting those. And through that process, we basically narrowed down the OEMs. We narrowed it down to HP, and we narrowed it down to screen. And that's where we started to, obviously do a deeper dive with that and asking some much tougher questions once we eliminated the rest of them and got down to those 2. So part of the interview process of narrowing it down to the 2 was looking at our business and being a tech-enabled company. We find ways, regardless of the challenge, to solve our customers. That's just our mindset here. It always has been, and that's, I think, what's helped differentiate Prisma for some of our competitors. So as we started down this journey and talking with both EOMs, we had a real good sense when we started asking them, what was their next 3 to 5 year plan, and how was the press we were looking at now going to evolve and adapt to again, more of the commercial market versus a transactional or even just strictly a direct mail company. And so going through that process, we felt that screen for us and the challenges that we felt was going to come about was understood what we were asking for and understood really what our customers' challenges were. And it was nothing HP, but we felt that asking some of these tough questions, whether it was, looking at synthetic stocks down the road, or some of the questions that our customers were asking us now, would the press be able to do X? And we just felt that Screen was the right partner in a sense where they weren't afraid to answer those questions and tell us yes or no. Was it part of their R&D process that they were looking at? Was it something that they were, and we just felt that they understood our business very well. The Inkjet was very important to us moving forward because, on the optical side, our customers are always asking us to use different substrates, besides just your gloss, your mattes, and your uncoated. On the commercial world, they're always asking us to do different things that sometimes even the stocks aren't intended to do. But again, we try to find a way to do that. And that was one of the aha moments that I got up. And that was using some sort of synthetic stock with one of our clients. And, Screen really jumped in and said, hey, we're ready to start doing some testing about that. We see some emerging markets there for us to support. And so for us, that was again one of those aha moments that we went down and felt that the answer port was going to be there for us. So some final thoughts that I would leave you with. Not everybody's path or journey is going to be the same as ours was. Highly recommend you do your due diligence and don't be afraid to ask those tough questions. And don't leave anybody out of the process. And, we looked at all the major EOMs. We didn't limit it, right away to 2 or 3, because we really wanted to find out for ourselves, again, what were all the options out there. We did do a lot of listening to the users at the conferences, and then obviously the sidebar meetings and conference calls and site visits were very helpful as well. But I'll tell you that there's going to be, and hopefully you get that aha moment as you're going through and asking these different questions. For us, we were saying, how will this EOM, our partner, react to when our customers ask for, again, something crazy, something out of the box that nobody's ever done, and because they're going to ask for those things, as especially on the commercial side. I can't speak to just the direct or to the transactional side. But for us, that was very important. Don't leave any questions unasked. And for us, another thing that we would highly suggest is make sure you have all the right team members from your organization at the table. I did talk to a few of the companies down the road that were doing this and asked them how their decision process came about, who was in the room at that time. And a couple of them were surprising because I think the decision was the owner and the president and the production manager alone. And I thought that was a little bit odd to me that you wouldn't have all of your stakeholders in there, because it is a process. It's not just your owner or your production manager that's going to be involved in this. It's going to take everything from your technology group, your pre-press, finishing, of course, press, but definitely have all the players at the table when you make this decision and get their input.